Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some Christmas DIYs to share with you. It's a compilation of some of my favorites from the past. If you want to know how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And be sure to give me a big thumbs up because it really does help my channel. Thank you so much. Next one, you're going to take a little metal tin, and I'll give you the link to where I got these below. And I'm just putting it right in the center of a piece of burlap. Now go ahead and measure your burlap. Just pull it up around the side just to make sure you get it long enough to hang over the edge a little bit. Go ahead and remove your little handle. And then we're just going to start gluing it together. So go ahead and start pulling it up around the little container and put a rubber band around there and then start straightening out your pleats. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and start gluing it in. Just make sure it is flat on the bottom. And then I'm going to come back in with a piece of jute and I'm going to tie it around and I'm going to try to get as close up to the top part of that little container as I can. And then I'm just going to tie that in a knot and then tie it in a bow. And then just go ahead and cut off the excess around the top, leaving about maybe an inch or 3/4 of an inch around the top part of it. And then we're just going to attach some styrofoam in the middle of it, and we're gonna add some greenery. Now this is a garland I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just gonna make these into little Christmas trees. This was $11.99 and it was on sale for 60% off, and you can make about 20 trees with this. These make great teacher gifts, great neighbor gifts. They just look really cute. They're just a little bitty tree. Just kind of bring it up as far as you can get it till you have a tree looking, and then we're just gonna stick it right down in the center. You don't even have to glue it in. Just stick it right down in the center and then just shape it out to make it look like a tree. And then we're going to come back in with some black and white baker's twine, tie another little bow on it, and then I'm going to put some pine cones on it. This is a super quick and easy project. You can make a lot of them in no time. These turn out so adorable. I think I'm even going to include these in some of my gift baskets. This next one's super easy. I'm just taking one of the Dollar Tree snowflakes and I'm just going to start adding some greenery to it. And I'll give you the link to where I bought this greenery. You're just going to kind of cut it up into pieces and just use little pieces here and there just to kind of fill all this in. And any of the excess pieces that you're cutting off there, just save those because you can use those on packages. They look really cute. And I'll give you the link for this below too. It's not real expensive and you get a lot for your money. You can paint the snowflake if you want to, but I just decided to leave it more natural looking because I was kind of going for a more natural look. And I'm just going ahead and put these in the center here and just go ahead and glue those in. Hey, I'm coming back and I'm putting some pine cones in it. I'm just starting in the middle. And I'm using 7 of them. And I'm just going to kind of go all the way around this one pine cone with each one of these. And I didn't buy these pine cones. I just had them in my stash of stuff. So I know that they do sell smaller pine cones at Hobby Lobby. And then I'm just coming back in with one of these little picks that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to add a few of these to this. Just putting 4 in there, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue those in. Then I'm going to come in with this snow that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'll give you the link to this. It goes a long way. Just put a little bit on your finger and just start rubbing it in wherever you want it. It really does give it a nice snow effect though. It looks good. And it doesn't flake off everywhere. It's not a mess. And then I'm just going to attach a piece of jute to it to hang it up. And this was pretty quick and easy and it turned out super cute. I'm going to put this on my front door. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. If you're enjoying the video, be sure and give me a like. It helps other crafters be able to see my video also. This one we're going to make a couple of little jingle bells. We're going to take an ornament, one of these big ornaments I got at Hobby Lobby, and just go ahead and cut the little tabs off. Then we're going to take some craft foam and cut it at 1/4 of an inch. You can fold it over. It's not going to bend it too bad when you do fold it over, but you need the long length of that craft foam. It's pretty long. You just need enough to go all the way around this ball. We're going to start by just adding a little bit of glue and start stretching that around there. This will hold that ball in place. It will seal it up. But just try not to get too much glue on it. You want to try to make sure that you get just a minimal amount of glue on it because you don't want it to show once we paint it. And then kind of pull it as you're going around, kind of stretch it so that it does lay flat. Okay, after I got those glued on, I went outside and I sprayed them with some cherry paint by Krylon, but don't waste your time because it was still real translucent. So I painted it with Imperial chalk paint by Folk Art, and I probably put 3 coats on that. And do the band also. Then I came back in with some black paint, and I'm just kind of just distressing it a little bit. Try to get most of the paint off of your paintbrush when you're doing this, and be sure and do the middle band as well. Put a little bit extra on the band in the middle. Next, I'm going to paint some little wooden rings black. I'm using 2 1-inch, and I'm using 2 1 3/4 inch on each bell. And then I'm going to go ahead and take some craft foam, a 1/4 inch craft foam, and I'm going to go ahead and paint it black as well. And this is what's going to attach the bigger loop to our bell. So just kind of get the sides and everything. You can touch it up after you get it all put together too. Then I'm going to take some silver paint, and I'm just going to kind of come through and distress it a little bit to make it look like it really was maybe metal at one time and it's tarnished. So just kind of lightly brush that over there too, kind of like you did the black on the red balls. Next, I've given you the SVG file in the description below. I'm putting the stars and the little bottom part of the bell on there. So just cut them out, and we're just going to attach them to the bell. We're going to put them evenly spaced around the top part, close to where the band is. So you're going to have one right there. You're going to have one right on the opposite side of that, and then you're going to have the other 2 spaced between the 2 on the opposite side as well. So just right straight across from that one. And then the next 2 between the 2 on each side. Okay, then the part that goes onto the bottom part of the bell, we're going to do the same thing, except it's going to start in the middle of the 2 stars, and then you're going to go between each one of them all the way around. Okay, next we're going to take 2 of the little rings and we're going to glue those together. And then we're going to take a piece of that craft foam and we're going to run it through the bigger loop. And that's what's going to hold it down inside those 2 little loops. So probably about maybe 1.5 inches probably on that. And then we're going to glue it to the loop, and then we're going to glue it inside those 2 loops. But don't glue the 2 together. We need them to be opened. And then just put a little glue on each side. And that's what we're going to attach to both of those little loops. Just kind of push them over so that the glue attaches to those. And then we're going to just attach it right to the very top. Just kind of make sure it gets centered on there. And try not to use too much glue. Use a little bit more glue towards the inside than the outside because you don't want it oozing on the outside. If it does, just touch up the paint on the red. Next, we're going to take some jute, and we're just going to go ahead and take our lighter, and we're going to go ahead and clean all the little strands off first. And then we're just going to attach it to our little bell. Just make a loop and run it through there and just push it on down, all the way down. And then just tie it off at the end. And I got out of the picture here, but you'll see how I did it in the second one. Just make a loop and run that through. And then just tie it in a knot. Okay, next I'm just going to attach a little bit of greenery, and I just cut this off of a garland, and I'm going to put a little bit on both sides with a pine cone on each side. Just kind of bend it around there so it's shaped around the bell. And then just add a pine cone to each one. Okay, next I'm just going to go ahead and add a ribbon, and I'm just taking a buffalo plaid black and red ribbon, and I'm just going to attach it at the top of the bell. Just going to make a little small bow, and then just go ahead and cut it off, and then we're just going to attach it right to the top. These turned out so super cute. You can make these with a bunch of different kind of balls. You can make them larger or smaller. They really turned out great. On this one, I got these two skates at Dollar Tree, and they're opposites. Just go ahead and heat it up, and then go ahead and scrape that off. Mine didn't come off real good because you're not going to reuse them again, because we are going to cover this with fabric. Next, go ahead and get your paint. I'm using Imperial Red chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the front and the back. Then I'm going to take my skate, and I'm going to trace it on a piece of paper so that I can get a pattern for my fabric. And then just where the heel and everything was, you'll just have to finish it out by hand. Okay, next you're going to cut out your pattern. Now you're going to cut one way, and then you're going to flip the pattern over to do the other boot, because they are opposite. You will have opposites. So go ahead and pin this one in and cut this one out. And then after you cut this one out, take that same pattern and you're going to flip it. And then cut that one out. Okay, now we're going to take some Mod Podge and we're just going to attach them to these skates. Now you're going to have a little bit hanging over on the bottom part where you can see the boot and the bottom part of the shoe. This will cover it up, but we are going to come back in with an X-Acto knife and trim that out. Just make sure you get plenty of Mod Podge on there to hold it on. Okay, now we're going to take an X-Acto knife and we're just going to kind of trim up the bottom so you can still see some of that boot on the bottom, and then we're going to paint that edge. Like that, so you have it, you can get it opened up there, and there's a ledge there that you can follow along too. Okay, next I'm going to take a Sharpie and I'm just going to outline around that fabric. I don't want to put too much paint right up there because I don't want it bleeding into the fabric. So start with your Sharpie first. Just kind of outline that area. And you could actually just fill it in completely. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to paint the rest of it. Just take a real fine paintbrush and just kind of lightly paint it. These turned out really cute. You could use these on packages. You could put them on the tree. There's a lot of things that you can use these for. I'm going to actually put mine on my Christmas packages. On the bottom part where the skate part is, I'm going to actually just paint that in with some metallic silver paint. Like got this fur at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to wrap it around my skates. Now, I'm going to trim it off a little bit shorter than what it is there because I think that's a little bit too much. So I'm probably going to trim off probably about an inch off of there. You're just going to make sure you get enough to go around both skates. And cut one for each one of them. Okay, next I'm taking some ribbon and I'm just going to attach it to my skates, and you can make this however long you want it. I'm just going to make it enough just to hang it from a branch or a present. But you want to do this part first before you glue on your fur, because otherwise you won't be able to get your little ribbon through there. Okay, now we're going to attach our fur, and we're just going to start in the middle of the back and go around to the middle of the back again and just glue that in. Just kind of fan it out a little bit. You won't see where your seam is, and just kind of fluff it up a little bit and do the same thing for the other one. Okay, then I'm adding some little dots to it, the little laces part, with some tulip slicks. But make sure that you got a pretty steady hand on this, because I did screw one up and I had to redo it. So if you have some little black dots that you could just put on here instead, it'd be a little bit easier. But they still ended up turning out cute. They just take a little bit of work just to kind of dot them on there and just kind of get off of it a little bit. Okay, for a little Dollar Tree craft, I thought those turned out so cute. Let me know in the comments which one of these is your favorite today. Okay, I got these cute little dress forms on Amazon. You get 5 in a pack, and I'm just going to spray paint all of them with a matte black Krylon paint. Then I'm just taking some greenery, and I'm going to attach it from the waist down to make a skirt. Now, you can use any kind of greenery you want. I got this on Amazon, and you get a lot of it, and I'll give you the link for that below. But you could use garland or anything that's greenery, and just go ahead and keep attaching it until you get it as full as you want. And then I'm going to go back in and start adding some smaller pieces as well. So this is a good way to use up some scrap greenery that you have, because once I get all these pieces put in here, I'm going to start cutting them and just kind of going up underneath the skirt to make it fuller. And if you watch the one I did at the very end of the video, I actually made a skirt form out of chipboard, and I'll give you the link for that in the description below, and you could actually do a dress like what I'm going to show you at the very end of my video as well. Then you go ahead and cut all the little sprigs off till they're even, and then go ahead and take your pliers and bend them in, because you want to have room to put your waistband on. Then I'm just taking a piece of white fleece. I'm going to wrap it around there just to the length or the height that my ribbon is. And this is just going to be able to cinch it up a little bit tighter so that she has a defined waistline. And just kind of pull it snug as you're gluing that, because you want that waistline to be snug and pulled in. Okay, next I'm just going to take some ribbon that I got at Hobby Lobby, and this is just a jeweled ribbon, and I'm just going to wrap it right around the waist. And then just go ahead and glue it in. But you want to make sure that your fleece is completely covered up, that it's not sticking up over the top. Okay, next I'm just going to take a red ribbon and I'm just going to tie it in a bow. And I'm going to leave some tails on both sides to hang down the dress. And then we're just going to attach it to the side of the dress. And then just go ahead and glue that on.
Okay, next I'm just going to take some little miniature pine cones and I'm just going to put them randomly around the dress, kind of evenly spaced out, some towards the top, the middle, and the bottom. And you can add as many as you want. I added a pretty good bit. This was so super easy. You could modify this and style it however you want to. I always wanted one of these dress forms with a Christmas tree, but a mini one, it'll work for me this year. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This next one, I'm using the little dice from the Dollar Tree. You get 3 in a pack. And I'm just going to make sure that all my wood lines are going the same way, that they kind of have the same pattern on them. And we're going to start with 5 on the bottom. And we're just going to glue those together with wood glue. But just take some time to make sure that they look good side by side. And just put a little bit of wood glue and just going to start attaching them. And then we're going to do a row of 4 and a row of 3. And then I'm just going to take a Q-tip and I'm just going to get the excess glue off. And then I'm going to go ahead and build my 4 row. Just make sure your blocks look good together. Okay, then we're going to do a 3 row. And what I'm doing there is I'm just trying to find 3 that match well. Okay, then we're going to take 2 Jenga blocks and we're going to glue them together on the short side. And we're going to do that to 2 sets of them. And just be sure and clean any excess glue off. And this is the little frame that we're building to put our the number countdown blocks in. Okay, we're going to let all that dry and then we're going to start building it up. Okay, we're going to start with our 5 and we're going to put our 4 centered on it. So we're just going to do the edges of each of the blocks because that's the only place that that's going to sit. If you put it in the center, you're going to see it through your blocks. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing with the 3rd. Just kind of make sure that, step back and look at them, make sure that they are straight. And then we're going to center the 3 on top of that. Then we're going to start taking our Jenga blocks and we're going to start building the frame for our numbers. So we're just going to go ahead and center that right in the center on those 3 blocks. And then we're going to build a frame around it. So go ahead and glue it down on the bottom. And then let it dry good. Then we're going to take 2 more Jenga blocks. We're going to go to the very edge. Go ahead and put your 2 blocks up there. And then mark just above where that block lands. You want to go a little bit higher than that when you cut those off because you want to make sure you can get your blocks in and out of that spot. And then just make sure both of them are cut the same length so that they will stand up evenly together. And then just go ahead and cut them there and then we're going to go ahead and glue them on. And you're just going to the very edge. Just make sure that your block does fit good before you glue it in. And then we're going to go ahead and start gluing them in. And we're just going to glue them right to the edge of those pieces that we glued down on top of those blocks. And we're using wood glue on this as well. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and attach some wood glue to the bottom. And I'm just going to attach these to a 2" by 2" piece of wood. And I got that at Lowe's. It's a hardwood. Just kind of center it on there, make sure it's even. And then I'm going to go ahead and finish out the frame. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of wood glue on each side. And then I'm going to attach a little hot glue as well, just to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to attach my last block right in the center on top. Just don't put too much wood glue because you will see it. And then after that dries, I'm going to take the whole thing outside and I'm going to spray paint it with a matte black Krylon paint. Now the blocks that I'm using for the numbers, I'm going to go ahead and paint those with a Waverly chalk paint in white. And then these are the numbers you're going to use. The top row is going to be on one block. The second row is going to be on a second block. And then you won't have a 6 because your 9 will go upside down to make a 6. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I cut my numbers off of my Cricut. You can find numbers anywhere if you don't have a Cricut. They sell them on sticker pages at Hobby Lobby and Michael's. But you can pretty much find them anywhere. I think even Dollar Tree has some number stickers. And just make sure you get them put on there real good and they don't come off. And you just get them all put on. Next, I'm just going to dress it up a little bit with a little bit of greenery and a little bit of ribbon. I'm just going to tie a bow on my ribbon and tie it to the bottom of it. And then I'm just using 2 little sprigs of greenery just attached right to the bottom also. Just right in the center, just meeting in the middle. And then just attach your bow. Okay, next I'm just going to take a snowflake and I'm just going to paint it white with some chalk paint. And I'm just going to glue it to the very top block. This is a very neutral piece. If you decorate neutral, let me know in the comments below. I am really happy with this piece. I can't wait to set it up for the holidays. Okay, for the first one, I'm going to take 2 packages of the plastic Dollar Tree wine glasses and then some Krylon matte black paint, and I'm going to spray paint them. Now, I'm actually only going to use 5 of the 6, and then I'm going to go ahead and drill a pilot hole through here so I can run a string through it. Now, take your time on this part because you don't want to break them. Next, I'm going to take a large Jingle Bell. I'm just going to run some baker's twine through it. Now, this one's 23 inches. You're going to need 3 of them at 23 inches and 2 of them at 27 inches because we are going to stagger them on our board. And then go ahead and take the part that you just tied off there and pull it up to the bottom. And then we're going to take I'm just taking an upholstery needle and I'm just going to run this right through my bell. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some beads. And I'm adding 2 small beads with a large bead in between. And just go ahead and pull that on through. And then pull your bell down and we're going to add a piece of pipe cleaner to that to hold it in place. So just run that through, bend it in half, and then we're going to run that all the way through the top part of that cup or that glass. And we're going to run it through all of those beads. And then we're going to have to adjust it. So don't waste your time gluing this part right here because it is going to go back. It'll pull up when you start doing it and you're going to have to re-glue it at the top. So go ahead and run it through your beads. And then once we get it through the top bead, we're going to go ahead and adjust our bell at the bottom because we do want it to hang out a little bit. Just on the line, where the bell has a line in the middle of it, we're just going to pull it down to where that line meets the bottom of the cup. And then we're going to go ahead and then we're going to cut that top part off and glue it in. We're going to make a bow. Just make 1 loop and hold your thumb on it. Twist that ribbon. Come up to the center. Twist the ribbon. Make another loop. Twist it again in the middle and make another loop. We're going to make 4 total loops. And these are probably about 1.5 inch loop. Twist it, make another loop, and then come past the center where your thumb is to cut the rest of that off. Then we're just going to run a pipe cleaner right through the center to hold all this together. Just pull it through and then twist it off in the back real tight. And then go ahead and open up your bow a little bit, kind of fluff it up a little bit, and then we're going to just attach it to the very top part of our wine glass. And just twist it off in the back. And then we're going to go ahead and add 1 more loop, and you don't want to do it in the bow. You want to do it separate because it didn't look right. So I'm going to show you right here to cover up that little stem part. We're going to make another loop the same size, and we're just going to kind of squeeze it together and glue it together, and then we're going to stick it down into the center loop. Just glue that right down into the center loop. Just want to cover up that stem. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attach a couple pieces of little greenery just right inside that loop. And I'm going to do 2 of them. Okay, just go ahead and make all 5 of them. Make 2 of them with 27-inch baker's twine and 3 of them with 23-inch baker's twine. Next, we're going to take a 1x2 and I'm just going to measure it at 22 inches and I'm going to just cut that straight across there. Okay, after I got it cut, then I'm going to go ahead and measure again and I'm going to mark my center point, which is going to be at 11. And then I'm going to mark at 2 and then I'm going to mark at 6.5. And this is where we're going to put our little hooks to hang our bells. And then I'm just going to flip my tape measure around and mark the same thing from that end. So 2 and then 6.5. And that'll be spread out just perfectly even. Next, I'm going to take a drill and I'm just going to make a small pilot hole so that when I attach those little hooks, it's a little bit easier to screw those in by hand. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and paint the entire thing with a matte black paint. And then I'm going to come in here with some little hooks and I'm just going to screw those right into all those holes. So you're going to screw in 5 of those little hooks. And just make sure that they are all facing the exact same way, which is going to be, you want to make sure that they're facing forward. And just get them in there pretty tight. And if you're going to add something to the front of your board, like words or something like that, make sure that the hook is facing the same way that you're going to put your artwork on. And I'm coming back in with some words that I cut out on my Cricut. I just put jingle bells, jingle all the way. If you don't have a Cricut and you don't have a way of adding letters, you can go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's. They all have little letters that you can get, or you can just decorate it with some snowflakes or whatever. But kind of add a little bit of decoration to it. It really makes it look good. And then after I got my words on there, then I needed to drill a hole. And I should have done this before, to drill a hole before to go ahead and hang my my board. Now go ahead, when you're doing your little holes for your hooks, be sure and go ahead and drill those out then. And then I had to come back in and touch up my paint. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of jute and I'm just going to run it through the back part. And then I'm going to bring it to the front and I'm going to tie it off in about 3 to 4 knots. And then just take your sign to wherever you're going to hang it up and just make sure that you get your jute long enough before you cut it off on the front. Just kind of go over to the side, kind of see where you want to make it hang. And then I'm going to come back in because you can't just hang it like this, otherwise it'll fall forward. And I'm going to show you what I did on both ends here in a second to make this stay straight. And you could just put some hooks on the back if you want to just hang it up that way. Okay, so now I'm going to take some more jute and I'm just going to wrap it around the ends. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my top part onto the board and I'm just going to wrap around that. So hold it up to the top and then you're going to start at the top and just wrap around it. And I'm just doing it into 2 layers. But just make sure that that piece stays on the top and then go ahead and tie that off. And then you're going to do exactly the same thing on the opposite side. And you do want to run a little bit of glue underneath these, kind of squeeze them up there together. And then add a little bit of glue just underneath them to hold them in place. And same thing on the top. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit and show you exactly how I looped that. So you're going to loop them together and pull it up there and hold it at the top. And then go ahead and wrap that around a few times and tie that off. So you're going to run 1 string through the opposite side to make that knot, and then you're just going to go ahead and glue that in. And that'll hold your board up straight. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and add our little bells. And you're going to put the outer side, the 23 inches, the very center of the 23 inch, and the 27 inches one that has a longer cord on it. Those are going to go kind of in the middle. Alright, and that was a pretty quick and easy little project. And you could use these bells on other stuff too. Those little wine glasses, the plastic wine glasses at Dollar Tree, make great bells. I think these would be super cute just on a Christmas tree as a Christmas ornament. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm using a 16-inch Ashland wreath from Michael's, and I'm using a container of
ornaments that I got at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to start attaching them around. Now, I'm not using any of the shiny ones in mine. I'm just going to alternate with the glitter ones and the matte black ones. Just keep going until you get it completely filled around. Now, you will have a gap in the middle here, but we're going to add greenery there in a little bit. Okay, then I got this greenery at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to pull all the little branches off until I have enough to do it. And then I'm just going to start attaching them between the ornaments on the inside and the outside. And you're going to go between each ornament all the way around. So kind of pick the sprays that kind of look them full and match each other so that you have it pretty even all the way around your wreath. And all of these were on sale for 60% off at Hobby Lobby. So this really didn't cost that much to make this wreath. Okay, then the leftover, I'm going to save 2 pieces out to put on the front, but the rest of it, I'm just going to attach right at the top part where we had that gap. And I'm sorry I got out of camera there, but that's where I attached that. Then I'm coming back in with some little matte colored silver ornaments, and I'm going to go every third gap and put one of those in there. And just glue them in with the tip part and facing the other ornaments into the gap. Okay, then I'm going to come back in with some pine cones, and I'm going to put those into the gap right next to where the silver ornament is. Just right next to it, and then we're going to come back in and put some on the outside as well. So just go all the way around on the inside part. And then we're going to come back in and put some on the outside part. And then I'm putting 3 up at the top where the greenery is. And I'll have to show you what that looks like here in a second. I'm sorry I got out of the picture on that. I just didn't have my camera high enough on that one. But that's how that looked, a little cluster of 3. Then I'm taking these little branches and I'm going to put those into the back. So I'm just going to flip it over. I'm going to cut them a little bit shorter, and I'm just going to glue those to the bottom part of the wreath. Just kind of glue them in and kind of spread them out a little bit so they kind of fill up the center of that wreath. Okay, then I'm going to come back in after I get them glued in, and I'm going to put a couple of little Jenga blocks on top of those just to glue all that in there together to secure it. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead and take a piece of jute rope, and I'm just going to attach it at the very top behind those branches. Behind those leaves, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the wreath itself. And then I'm just going to tie that in a knot at the top. I'm going to add one of these little acrylic deer that I got at Dollar Tree. Just going to put a little glue on the bottom of his feet, glue him in, and then I'm going to cover his feet up where the glue is with some greenery, just like the rest of the greenery that just put around it. Just put a little bit of glue on it in front, kind of like he's walking in the grass, and then we're going to put another little piece on there as well, just to kind of cover up where we got the glue. Okay, then I'm going to come in with some of that same snow text I used earlier, and I'm just going to dust the greenery with it. And you can put as much as you want or as little as you want. You can put some on the branches and the pine cones. That snow, I love the snow. It's so user-friendly, and it's not a big mess. The way this one turned out, it really didn't take that long, even though I kind of rushed through showing you how to put it together, but it really goes together pretty fast and easy. Okay, I think this one turned out so nice. I really like the way the black and the silver go together. Let me know what color you decorate with at Christmas.
And this next one, I'm just going to take these little trees. I got a Dollar Tree, and I'm going to spray paint them with flat brown enamel paint. Now, I only ended up using 3 of these in my project, so I'm painting 6. It was overkill because I really only used 3. Then I bought some little reindeer at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to go outside and paint those, the front and back of those, the same color. Okay, next I'm going to take this wreath form. It's a 12-inch wreath form. I got it at Michael's. And then I'm just going to take a piece of wood that I already had. And then I'm going to take some Jingle blocks, and I'm going to glue these down so that I can put that wreath in the center and it'll support them. So we're going to use a little bit of E6000 glue and some hot glue together. And we're just doing an edge on this one. And these are little tumbler blocks you get at Dollar Tree. And then go ahead and glue your wreath down. And then put your other Jingle block in just to kind of sandwich in between so that they are pretty snug. Okay, then next I'm going to take some more Jingle blocks. I'm just going to go ahead and start building it up. Now I'm putting 2 on here, and then I had to come back and put a 3rd one. So go ahead and put 3 on here now. And then I'm just going to stain these with some of this Waverly antique wax. Just kind of give it a little bit of color so it just doesn't stick out there so bright. Then I'm going to go and put the same greenery that I just put on that star on here. And I'm kind of splitting it open where I have like maybe 3 sprigs on one side and the bulk of it on the opposite side. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut the end of it off just like I did the other one. Just kind of twist it around there and it'll let go. And then we're just going to wire this to this ring. Okay, you're just going to kind of take some thin wire, and we're going to attach it in a couple different places just in the back part. So grab a piece that's in the back and go ahead and wire it on. We're going to start by putting a little bit of hot glue in the center just to hold it in place while we're getting it wired in. And just kind of shape it up there on that side, and then the other side we're going to kind of shape it up around the curve as well. But you want more on one side than the other. It just looks a lot better. And we need an opening so that we can put our house. Now this little barn, it's actually a barn, and I got the little barn at Walmart. And then just kind of take your pliers once you get it so you can really tighten it up. Just go ahead and twist it, and then go ahead and twist the knot, and it'll really tighten up there so that before you cut that off of there. And then just kind of flatten that piece out that's sticking out the back. And then the same thing for this side. We're just going to put a piece of wire on this side as well. You really only need 2 pieces of wire to put this together. And then just twist that one also, and it'll really tighten up. Okay, and this is where I added my 3rd Jingle block on top of there, and then I went ahead and stained it. Okay, then I got this little barn at Walmart, and I think I gave $2 for this, and I'm going to attach it with a little E6000 glue and a little bit of hot glue, and I'm just going to center it right on top of that block. Next, I'm going to take my little trees, and I'm only going to use 3 of these, and I'm going to take some Snow Text by Decor Art, and I'm just going to rub it on the branches. Now, this is like a little paste, and it really goes a long way. I was real impressed with this. Just rub it on the branches, and then we're going to rub it on the house as well. Just kind of give it a little snowy look. Just kind of accent it, and then go down the center of it pretty good. Just to kind of give it like a little dusting. Okay, next we're going to add the trees, and I'm taking these little 1/2-inch wooden rings, and I painted those the same color brown, and I'm just going to attach those in 3 outer spread out places on the back. So kind of evenly spread them out, but check your tree and make sure you clear the house before you glue these down. And then I'm just going to fill these with hot glue, and I'm going to put my tree in it. Now I'm going to come back and support these with some greenery in a little while, but I'm just kind of get them in there right now. Just kind of make sure that you hold them until they glue up good. Put a little bit of extra glue around the outside of them, and then just get all 3 of them in place.
And then I'm going to come in with some little sprigs of greenery that I got on Amazon. I'll give you the link for those as well. You get 60 in a pack for these. They go a long way. I'm just going to kind of glue those in there. Just kind of so you can fill it up so you don't see any of the back on there. And then I'm going to come in with a little piece of garland I'm cutting, and I'm just going to make a U around each one of those trees just to kind of give them a little bit more support and cover up that ring. And then I'm just going to start adding my deer. And I'm just going to kind of put them on the branches. I'm going to put one on the platform itself, a couple on the branches. You can put them onto the pine cones. Just kind of get them in there so they kind of look like they're in the wild. Just kind of gluing each one of the bottom of their feet or their legs, and then just glue them in. And you could add all kinds of stuff to this scene. I just was kind of trying to make it look a little bit more on the simple side. And then I did come back in with that snow, and I put a little bit on each one of my pine cones, and I did put a little bit on the branches of the greenery just to kind of blend it all together. This turned out so cute. I really like this one. The only thing I think I would add if I had time to go back and do it would be have a moon hanging from the top part up there. Okay, this was just a compilation of some of my last year's favorites that I did. I hope this gives you some inspiration to start working on your Christmas crafts. Let me know in the comments which one of these is your favorite today. And if you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you're notified when I have new video upload. I got a lot of new Christmas stuff coming. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a great week.